All right, real quick. I won't be too long on this stream. I just want to elaborate on my opinion, on my perspective. We're going to disagree on some things here and there, but the disagreements that I've heard thus far are extremely petty. I don't believe that it makes much of a difference whether or not Keisha is demonically possessed or just a group of mean women. The result is still the same. A woman that I can't tolerate. But in my opinion, it's a lot deeper than a simple character flaw. It's a lot deeper than, hey, these Keishas are just mean women or disrespectful. Like, hey, you're just disrespectful. You're just a disrespectful group of women. I think it's deeper than that. Because when you look at them like that, I feel like it's sort of human. It sort of normalizes them. It sort of projects them as, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing seriously wrong with you. You just have a character flaw. You can fix that with counseling. You can fix that with rehab. Hey, you just go see a psychologist for a few months. You'll be okay. I don't believe that would help them. I don't believe that what we're looking at is normal. For example, if they were simply you're just individually disrespectful people, then I have to ask the question, are you like that all the time with everybody? Because if you're just a nasty person and you just can't help it, that means you're going to be that way with everybody all the time. And they're not. They are selective about who they are nasty with. See, with a Keisha, you can have a Keisha in a room with a Brad, and an observer tells you, hey, this Keisha was talking to this Brad for a half hour and she was as sweet as pie. You're saying that this woman is nasty? That's not what I saw. This woman was nice. You know, she was a polite woman. Keisha can do that. They can put on a front for a little while. They can, hey, if they want a job and they're sitting in a chair in front of Brad in a suit, yeah, these Keishas can be as sweet as pie for this select amount of time. I don't believe they could do that if they were just nasty people who couldn't help but to be nasty. Because if that's the case, you're nasty all the time and you just can't help it. You don't know how to be a nice person. But see, Keisha is selective. And the worst of her nastiness, the vast majority of her disrespect, goes to one demographic: black men. Black men. That means you are selective and you regulate. You regulate your attitude. You're to the point where you hold things against black men that you don't hold against Brad. See, when Brad can get away with doing the same thing black men are doing, that means they are regulating. That means it's deeper than just a person with a nasty attitude. Because a person with a nasty attitude is essentially colorblind. You're going to find them being just as nasty to black men as they are with everybody else, and we all know better than that. So what they are is anti-black, anti-black male / anti-black. And they don't have to go to school to be this way. Them in this wig wearing culture, this culture that they have. I mean, haven't you noticed that there is never a narrative that permeates through their population of respect for black men or productive black men? Have y'all noticed narratives like that never circulate among them? When there are narratives about black men, they're always negative. When there are narratives that permeate through their population about Brad, it is always positive. Women who are simply nasty women don't operate like that. They're nasty towards everybody. They don't know no other way to be. So that's why I say this is a demon. You see, demons have a purpose. They have specific entities that they want to target and destroy. First target is the body that it is in. It always seeks to destroy the body that it's in. And the closest approximate, which is the black man. And when this is a demon of self-hatred. So when this demon sees the black man, it sees the source of their hatred. I hate how I look. And you, black man, you're the reason why I look this way. That's why they view heaven as having kids by non-black men. They look at that as a way to escape and no longer be cursed by black men's seed, black men's genes. That's a sophisticated hatred. That's a selective hatred. This is not normal. You know, this is just not a normal thing where a person is a certain way, like a nasty person. Nasty people are nasty to everybody. We're dealing with a demon, in my opinion. A demon. To the point where, like I said, they don't have to go to school. They don't have to be formally taught what to think. It's all built into their social relations. When there's a young Keisha surrounded by a bunch of older Keishas, they hear how those Keishas talk disrespectfully and talk down on black men. They hear how they talk positively about Enrique and Brad. They see the wig wearing. They see the self-hatred. So they automatically become what they see. In order for them to not be the way that they are, they would have to grow up in a jar somewhere on the moon. They would have to be completely detached from really this planet. Because their culture of anti-blackness and anti-black male is global. They're collectively anti-black and anti-black male. They would have to go through something traumatic. I remember years ago, I argued that the only thing that could possibly change them is if this world got turned upside down. The only way they could possibly have respect for black men is through utter fear. Black men would have to take over the world by force in a superhuman way. Slash the throats, cut the heads off of our enemies, and have the blood splash across Keisha's face. Hold the sword up to Keisha and tell her you're next. One disrespectful thing come out your mouth, if you got one objection to the elimination of our enemies, you next. The only thing that could possibly change them is a deadly display of dominance by black men as a collective. And that's something that's cartoonish that would never happen. That fear of black men would have to develop into respect. Because you know who else did that? Brad. Brad started out instilling fear into Keisha through the domination of black men and the abuse of Keisha's themselves. It started with brute force, dehumanizing them and putting the fear of God in their hearts. And what do we have today? Keisha admires Brad. That fear evolved into this type of respect. I don't believe anything will change them. Because haven't y'all noticed? They treat all black men the same. No matter if you're a bum with no job, a prison pookie, you get the same. They look down on them just like they look down on successful, productive black men. It don't matter if the black man is vulgar or polite. You are a less than, you are a step down. If I get with you, I'm settling. Brad Enrique is always the superior choice. I just think it's deeper than these women sort of, individually having a bad attitude. That sounds too much like a normal person. Like, hey, you can get that fixed. Yeah, you just need a different surrounding. Yeah, you just need to be around people who love you and stuff like that. I don't believe none of that will work. None of that will work. Understand me. You can have the most well-spoken, the most educated, the most polite, even pro-black woman. She will give the same reasons as the outwardly hateful Keisha as to why they are so single. No matter what demographic, no matter what their education, no matter how successful, you ask any of them, why are so many black women single and unmarried? They are all going to sacrifice black men's image. All of them. They're all going to throw dirt on black men's image and blame black men. Here they're sitting there with wigs on, looking foolish, obese, with a targeted hatred for black men. Would you buy that? No, these women, in my opinion, are possessed. And I believe, and I think it's been proven, when you're people misunderstand demonic possession. It's an energy. And it actually configures how your brain functions. When you put a person who has OCD, when you put their brain under a scan, when you scan their brain, you're going to notice that their brain functions in a particular way. They're going to have certain areas of their brain that's more active than others. They're going to have connections between certain areas of their brain are going to be highly active. Right? Different areas of their brain will be interacting with each other more intensely than the connection between other areas of the brain. And other areas of the brain won't have any interaction at all. This is what you'll see if you put the brain of a person with ODC, if you scan their brain. And what they do, they give these types of people medicine. They give them this type of medicine, and what it does, it delinks the connections between these different areas of the brain. It reduces the activity between the different areas of the brain. And then you see the results in their behavior. In other words, your brain becomes configured. The way you act, your views, your perspectives, it's shown in the actual function, physical function of your flipping brain. You crack the skull of every Keisha, I'm telling you, they're going to have the same types of brains. And when your brain is configured like that, see, understand, the person with OCD, you scan their brain, you see these interactions, you see certain areas of their brain is highly active, you give them a pill, now that area of the brain is not as active as it was before. You can give them a pill that can do that. Do you know what else you can do? You can send them through physical therapy. And it will have the same results. Yeah. You can send them through physical therapy and changing their daily life routine and everything. Eventually, it will change the actual configuration of their brain. So what does that tell you? Your views, your perspectives, what you do, it shapes your brain. It shapes it. And what these Keishas do is they pass down the same brain down to the next generation. Keisha don't know how to be. They don't know how to act. The only example they have is other Keishas. They look up to other Keishas. When they develop their personalities, their attitudes, they're going to look up to other Keishas. They're getting it from other Keishas. Their mothers, their aunties, their mothers and aunties' friends. That's where it's going to come from. They're going to get together. They're going to conjure up these Keisha demons. Going to hear all types of discussions. Black man this, black man that. Hear all the discussions of self-hatred. And that is going to be primarily what shapes their brain. That's possession. That's energy. That's spirit. So none of them escape it. None of them can escape it. You see, there are different variations of Keishas. They're not all exactly the same. They don't all have the exact same type of nastiness when they speak. Some of them seem like some of them are more extreme than others. Put it like that. Many of them can trick you into thinking that they are nice, sweet, respectful. You think, oh man, there's no way she looks down on black men. Yes, she does. That's just how humans are. Humans are not a monolith. Race is irrelevant. You're always going to have these types of differences in people. So, if they're all just nasty chicks, then that wouldn't be the case. They would all just be nasty all the time. There would be no discrimination between who receives this nasty energy and who doesn't. There would be no variance. They would not allow Brad to get a pass for the things they give Brad a pass for. They would hold Brad to the same standards that they hold for black men. And that's not the case. They are pro-white, pro-Spanish, pro-Asian. They're pro-everything other than black. Pro-everything other than black men. I mean, you got to understand, they're hitting these sperm banks and they're requesting non-black sperm. They view black men's seed as subpar, inferior. That's far more sophisticated than a person who's just a nasty person, right? You have a specific agenda with your hate. And your hate it's a targeted hate. It's not just some random sporadic hate, random sporadic disrespect. Everybody don't catch the smoke like that. It's black men primarily over everybody else. Why? Because it's black men who reproduce and give life to this state of existence that they hate so much, that they fight against their whole life. You got a population of women who start wearing wigs before they even turn 20 years old. This is what we're talking about here. I mean, the deepest level of self-hatred possible. Ain't no reason that you basically still kids wearing wigs. They got a wig culture. They got an anti-black male culture. Haven't y'all noticed how hard it is for them to say anything positive about black men? How difficult it is for them to speak highly about black men at all, and when they do, it's usually just sexual. Yeah, I don't believe anything realistic anyway can change them. I think we're dealing with demons. Because when you hate yourself, that's a sign of a demon. When you're self-destructive and when you seek to erase yourself and your kind, you're demonically possessed. That's what the purpose of a demon is there for. It's there to destroy the body it's in. And destroy any and everything related. Right? Blackness. So they hate black men. Hate themselves. Non-black people have created entire industries to cater to their self-hatred. And that's a stable source of income. Open a wig shop. You ain't never going out of business. They permanently fight against how they look. No other group of people does that. And it's even worse when they're fighting to look like other people. Other people that's on the earth. They're not trying to be or look like some imaginary group of women. Their wigs consist of the literal, actual, entire head of hair from another woman. You cannot deny that you're not trying to be other people when you do that. You do something like that, you are most definitely trying to literally be those women. And then when you run across these natural black women, what are they into? They're natural because their Brad likes it like that. It makes him feel like he's with a slave. And guess what? That turns Keisha on too. Feeling like she's an actual slave, being raped by massa, excites them. No, that's not just a nasty person. You are full of demons. You've passed just being a disrespectful person yards back with a mind like that. Are you kidding? All these stories of being brutally beaten as a child is common in Black America. And the vast majority of you were beaten like that by your mothers. I guarantee it. Each and every time. Told you about that story, how my auntie used to wait until my cousins were on the toilet, burst into the bathroom with a belt and commits to beating their brains out. They used to use the craziest of objects. The worst beatings you ever heard of came from these single Keishas. They would not treat white babies like that. They wouldn't. So this selective nastiness, disrespectful energy, I think is a lot deeper than just, sort of individual character flaws. There's something deeply, deeply wrong with these. That's why I don't trust any of them. I don't care what kind of front you put on. Y'all all get that same energy. I don't trust none of them. I've been fooled far too many times. I'm speaking partially from experience. The only way I would trust Akeisha is if we were on a different planet. Shout out and salute everybody in the building. And I will see y'all on the next live.